Mateo, what's up? Welcome back.
What up?
I'm here with Theis of the Zano crew, and just a little background. We met down in Mexico,
Mexico City, yeah.
and that's when I first met the Zano team. And Theis was there, and just turns out that he's in Romania with me, and we met up together, had some coffee, walked around the city.
Was
He
beautiful.
knows the way around here, which is fantastic, and we've had a great time since. But we wanted to talk a little bit about Zano and all the new developments, which I haven't kept up with, but Thies has because he's on the team, and we want to talk about that. So, uh,
Yeah, man,
Thies,
it's
if you could introduce yourself.
of course, totally. So I'm Thies. I'm 21 years old. I'm doing social media for Zano for a couple months already now. Let's say 7 months. I started last year. And me and Matt, we met at Monero Topia last year, which was awesome. And we had some contact on Twitter actually, and he told me he was in Oradea, Romania, and I was coming at the same time, so we thought why not meet up, right? So here we are, making this video. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff happening in the Xanoverse. So what's coming? Yeah, we have Freedom Dollar right now. We have Confidential Layer coming up. They launched their token, so the bridge is going live in a few weeks, I've heard. And also just internally with a lot of developments going on, the devs are working a lot, like over hours. And yeah, it's just awesome, man. It's great seeing all of the innovation happening in the space, also in the privacy space in general, right? And with all of these events coming up, including Pork Fest, we'll be going to Pork Fest in 2 weeks. Where supposedly Ross Ubrecht is going to come as well, so that's going to be sick.
Yeah, that'll be great.
And yeah, we'll have this stand with Confidential Layer 2, Freedom Dollar. I think it's going to be in like a Monerotopia branded style.
Okay.
And then Aaron Day is going to speak on various topics, including tokenization. And I've heard he has like one of the biggest stands over there, or that's what I've heard.
Aaron Day's done a lot of great speeches.
Dude, yeah, man, he's
very passionate about fighting
dude,
the
for
CBDCs.
sure. He's a great addition to the project, man.
And his latest speech was about the Freedom Dollar.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the bigger things going on in the space.
Yep.
And we've spoken a little bit about that. But for those of the watchers that don't know, what is the Freedom Dollar, and what are the potential opportunities that the Freedom Dollar provides?
Yeah, well, so first of all, disclaimer, I don't work for Freedom Dollar. I just did some research. I'm working for Zano. Yeah, so Freedom Dollar is a privacy stable coin built on the Zano blockchain. What I know about Freedom Dollar is they have a coverage ratio, so they have a collateral of Zano. So every Freedom Dollar minted is backed by Zano. And yeah, what are the opportunities? Well, the opportunities are immense. They are very big, right? If this catches real adoption, then that's going to be, of course, huge for the space, especially for like people in more poorer areas of the world, right? If they can start using a dollar which is not corrupted or not actually used, or actually which is not let's say controlled by a single entity, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing for these people. It will increase the freedom, and also like economically, right? There will be much more prosperity, I would say, for the people, right? So yeah, it's still in the early phase, right? We're only like 2-3 weeks in, I think, for now. I think it launched 3 weeks ago, but already we are on like 20 exchanges. And then also we have 3 wallets. They're going to integrate it in the Bitcoin Common Wallet already, Cake Wallet. I think Edge Wallet is coming up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's amazing things for Zano too.
And I heard that there was $1 million already minted for
Yep.
the Freedom US dollar. And it's a private stable coin, which is the first of its kind, as far as I've heard. It's not the first attempted.
No,
There have
correct.
been a few that have been
Yeah.
attempted. Unfortunately, they didn't pan out. And I think people should research the differences between the Freedom Dollar that's been built on Zano and the other algorithmic private stable coins which have been attempted in the past. We've heard about Zephyr and Haven Protocol and other projects which have tried to do this, and it's deemed to be like the holy grail
For sure.
of crypto, an algorithmic private stable coin. So it's no small feat that this
Correct.
was established, and There are already merchants and vendors that have started to accept it. And I guess one of the benefits also is that you don't have the volatility of crypto and the price action when it comes to the Freedom Dollar because it's stable.
Correct.
And so that's one of the great possibilities about it. But you don't work on the Freedom Dollar. That's actually an independent project.
It's a third party project building on the Zano.
Right.
Everyone has the freedom to build on Zano, and
Yeah.
they chose to build their dollar on Zano. And the benefits of building on Zano is, of course, everything is private by default, right? So every project you build on Zano, it adopts the features of the base layer Zano.
Right, right. And so everyone should do their own due diligence on
Definitely,
this
yeah.
and determine whether or not they want to adopt it. But that's so cool that people are trying to do that. And speaking about Aaron Day before, he's working on a private gold-backed
Correct.
stablecoin called
I think Karma,
Karma.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he would be the person probably to talk to about that.
for sure.
But lots of cool projects going on. Confidential Layer, you said, is launching in a few weeks. That's
Yep.
another independent project.
Yeah.
And so, what are your thoughts on that? And what are you looking forward to most in regards to that?
Well, so to briefly explain confidential layer. So confidential layer, it's a non-custodial bridge. So you'll be able to bridge popular assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think they also integrated Binance Chain. I think they are planning to do Solana as well at some point. And you'll be able to bridge those assets via the confidential layer bridge onto the Zano blockchain. So what happens when you do that, those assets actually become wrapped assets. So now you have a wrapped version of, let's say, Bitcoin onto the Zano, which you bridge onto the Zano blockchain, making it private, right? So now you can actually use and move this private version of Bitcoin within the Zano ecosystem, which gives a lot of like use cases, of course.
Yeah, because people who want to spend their Bitcoin or spend their Ethereum, one of the problems is it's easily tracked and
Correct.
traced. And, Ross Ulbricht would be a pretty good person to talk to
Dude, yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he would be pretty excited by the
Definitely.
prospect of a
Definitely,
private
yeah.
Bitcoin. So him being at PorkFest, maybe there's an opportunity there for him to learn about that. But
Who knows, man? Yeah.
yeah. So that's an
Definitely.
exciting prospect and another thing for people to do diligence on and
Correct.
see if they want to get into that. So in regards to further developments with Zano, there is the prospect that Zano could be moving to total proof of stake.
Yep.
And Andre, he is the spearheading figure kind of in our current space at the moment for proof of stake.
Yeah.
It's a controversial thing.
It is.
And as of now, Zano is, correct me if I'm wrong, hybrid proof of work
Yep.
and proof of stake. And so some of the arguments against Zano and its proof of stake nature has been somewhat buffered by the fact that it does have some proof of work.
Yep.
But there is this move now to make it completely proof of stake. So what are your thoughts on that? And, when can we expect that to come and what's kind of the latest with
Yeah.
that?
So Andre is definitely your guy to talk to about like consensus. So what I know is from, first of all, definitely listen to the latest Inside the Zenoverse. I think the latest. We talk a bit more about the conversion of going to full proof of stake. But yeah, it's definitely a controversial topic. Of course, there has been some debates about it previously, of course, in the space as well. What I do know is that, like, I've heard that proof of stake has more benefits than the current proof of work, proof of stake hybrid consensus algorithm. How the details look like, definitely ask Andre on that. That's not like my branch of
Expertise.
not
Yeah.
my expertise.
Neither
But,
mine.
Yeah, but it's definitely interesting to see how things are developing. And look,
Yeah.
if it gets more secure, then it's for the better, man. Let's make it more secure. Let's make the chain secure, and
Yeah.
how that looks like, that's up to the devs for sure.
And that's been a priority of Andre's really since the
Yeah,
beginning.
he's I would say a mastermind in consensus. He's very in the scene of consensus. That makes sense. He's very well knowledge about that topic.
Yeah, and there's also been some talk about reducing the stake rewards, I think. And so that's just more evidence that it's not about necessarily staking to make money. It's about security.
It's about securing the network. It's about how can we make the network more secure. That's all that we care about.
Right, right. And that's a good, direction to have. Um, Now, what are some other things going on with Zano at the moment that you're excited about?
Well, we previously talked about Confidential Layer and Freedom Dollar, but we also have this NFT platform called Obscura, which is basically a platform that where you can mint private NFTs. So I think Sell the Agorist, he's making his own privacy NFT collection on with Obscura. So definitely stay tuned for that. That's coming up, which is very exciting. And then also, what's more, well, just I guess where the project is in a very like scaling phase. I only joined the project like 8 months ago, but the growth we've seen in these 8 months is immense. We're growing really fast, and on all fronts, on development front, but also on the marketing front, right? We've been covered in already a few like big media like media platforms, and we're just getting bigger on the socials as well. We started posting more on Instagram, and we also want to get on TikTok, to get more, to attract more eyeballs on the project essentially. And then also other people, a lot of big names in the space are getting to know Zano, which is awesome to see, and how interested they really are in the potential freedom it can give people when they actually adopt these technologies.
Yeah, I think
That's also what intrigues me the most, is how much people actually get to benefit, like when they actually adopt this technology, right?
right, and just the comfort you have that it's private.
Yeah,
Because once you sort of peer behind the veil, and you're able to see the problems with not having private money, especially if it's digital, is something that you just can't kind of look away from once you've seen it. And at least on my channel, we've seen so many examples of people getting in some kind of trouble or having some kind of issue, whether it's with law enforcement or people getting kidnapped because people know how much crypto they have.
well, you have these stories about France, people's fingers getting cut off and stuff, and it's like gnarly.
Yeah, there's some people who don't even want to go to these crypto conferences at
Yep.
this point. I'm going to be at MoneroCon, you're going to be at PorkFest,
Yeah.
but I've heard from some other people about not going to these conferences because of the security risk with people getting abducted or wrench attacked, I think is the term.
Wrench attack, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be especially wary of going to conferences in Europe where it's illegal to carry a firearm, I would say. And I think in the US, people are more reluctant to pull off something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny, being here in Romania, I've talked to people about that. They say that you Americans are crazy, running around with guns everywhere.
Dude,
And
yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
And, they say that because Eastern Europeans are the way that they can't imagine every Eastern European having a gun, because you'd have like a Texas showdown every afternoon somewhere.
Yeah.
And who's to say that's a bad thing, but it's a different culture, and that doesn't mean the criminals aren't going to somehow get guns. I don't want to get into a whole gun thing, but I'm an American, I like guns. So
But definitely be aware in especially conferences in Europe. That's my advice for sure.
yeah. But going back to the privacy thing, that's why it's so nice to have private crypto, because you don't have to worry about people peering into your wallet and figuring
Yeah.
out who you are and figuring out who you're transacting with, or misinterpreting what you're
Definitely.
doing with your money, because that's a common thing where somebody transacts money to somebody, that person then goes, who knows, on the dark webs or something, and then they get accused of being associated with that activity.
Yeah.
And then they end up looking like a criminal when they weren't a criminal at all.
Or like these big data companies just acquiring your data like without your consent. It's like a big risk for yourself. Privacy is it's for your it's for the better. If that makes sense. It will only be a benefit staying like keeping your, especially your financial data, private.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately 99% of all crypto or blockchains are transparent, and that's just a huge risk which people are not aware of.
Yeah, and what's funny is it's become like a common hobby amongst ordinary people to do forensic accounting on people,
Yeah.
where there are these accounts on Twitter that are watching the wallets of whales or prominent people, and they're watching the flow of their money. And it's just like, it's one thing for like law enforcement or the government to be doing that, but for average people to be doing almost like a Soviet kind of surveillance on other people's money,
Yep.
it's not a good world to be in if that's going on. And the fact that also blockchain is forever and you can't change the past
Yep.
means that anything that you do at any point on a transparent blockchain, if linked to you or maybe, supposedly linked to you, can be used against you at some point. So the fact that just as soon as somebody starts to think about all these things, they become interested in private crypto, private money.
Yep.
And at that point, it's hard to turn back. So with Confidential Layer, with the Freedom Dollar, with Monero, of course, there is so much more energy now coming into the space. There's so many more interested people, which is wonderful to see. And we're just seeing the very beginning, I think, of the next paradigm in crypto. A lot of people have wanted Bitcoin to be more private, Ethereum to be more private, and there are some tools on top of that. But I think what Zano is trying to do to make an ecosystem where these
Yep.
things could be private.
Well, there's a
is
big
very
difference
nice.
between building a tool to make your crypto more private on chain compared to building it from the base layer. Obviously, there's a big difference. Of course, you have, I don't know the nitty gritty about it, but you have like on Ethereum projects like Railgun, and then also I believe Tornado Cash.
Hmm.
We saw the Tornado Cash guy. I think his name is Alexei, speaking in ETHDEM. He got prosecuted for building that stuff. So yeah, it's just it's a bummer, of course. It's like there is prosecution going on that level, but it is not an excuse not to. It's not an excuse to stop building,
Of course, you have to keep building.
for sure.
Never stop building. So to wrap up, what are some additional things that you want to impart to the viewers? When's Pork Fest?
Yeah, sure. I think Porkfest starts June 16th and it ends June 23rd. So yeah, definitely. If you're around in the U.S., I think it's in New Hampshire, Lancaster, somewhere near Lancaster. Uh, I think it's called Rogers Campground, if I'm correct. But if you're around, definitely come by. You get 10% discount with the discount code FreeRoger. So definitely redeem that if you decide to come. And then we'd love to meet you there. We'll be giving away some merchandise items, some Zanos or Freedom Dollars. So yeah, definitely be there. It's going to be an exciting time, and we would love to meet you there, the Zano team.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Thies, for sitting
Definitely,
down
man.
with me today, and of course showing me the wonderful city.
Yeah,
And like, subscribe, and check out Zano's Twitter account. You're on Instagram now.
Instagram. Yeah, it's the same Twitter handle as it's the same. So the Instagram handle is the same as the Twitter handle.
Okay, and I'll try to post that below
Awesome.
in the description. So, my name is Mateo. Hope you enjoyed the interview. Talk to you later.